to expect in 2025 and beyond. A roundtable panel discussion brought to you by the Controllers Council. My name is Neil Brown, Executive Director of the Controllers Council. And before I introduce our expert panelists and our partner sponsor, let me share some brief housekeeping items. This webinar is CPE eligible with 4 polling questions, so please answer each poll. And if not CPE, please answer to benchmark your peers. Also regarding CPE, you'll have a quick survey at the end of the presentation, so please complete. Next, we'll have Q&A at the end of the presentation. So use your control panel again to ask our experts questions. And finally, you'll receive a link to this webcast via email in the next 24 hours, so no need for notes or screenshots. With that, I'm very pleased to say a word about our sponsor. Esker is a global cloud platform built to unlock strategic value for accounting, finance, procurement, and customer service professionals, strengthening collaboration between companies by automating the cash conversion cycle. Founded in 1985, Esker operates in North America, Latin America, Europe, and Asia Pacific, with global headquarters in Lyon, France, and U.S. headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin. You can see a couple of the stats here: 40 years, 3,000 plus customers, and 205 euro. They're reporting euro, and I won't go into the exchange today. So it's my pleasure to introduce our subject matter experts, Kristine Dosick, Michael Mance, and Jody Derr. Kristine is controller at evolvedMD, a behavioral healthcare provider in Scottsdale, Arizona, with 20 years experience in a number of industries. Kristine earned a bachelor's degree in integrative biology from the University of California, Berkeley. So that might be the biology part of it, might be why you're in healthcare right now, Kristine, and an accountant in healthcare. Mike Mance is VP of Financial Operations at Dialysis Care Center, national healthcare provider, where Mike runs an F&A team and reports to the CEO. He earned a BS accounting from Illinois State University and is a licensed CPA in Illinois. And Jody Derr is source to pay business manager at Esker with 20 years of experience working with companies in all facets of document process automation within the order to cash, OTC, and source to pay, STP, S2P cycles. Panelists, welcome. Thank you for your participation today.
Thanks for having us, Neil.
Appreciate that.
Okay.
So let's get right to our panel question, our first question. And this one's a real easy one. Just tell us a little bit about your company, your finance and accounting organization, and your AP department. Mike, do you want to start?
Sure. Good afternoon, and thanks for having me, Neil. My name's Michael Mance. I have about 35 years of experience. Originally cut my teeth in public accounting, and then I've been in industry in various roles throughout my career. I've been here at Dialysis Care Center for 5 years, reporting directly into the CEO. We are a national healthcare company, have about 55 locations over 8 states. I have approximately 50 people on my team, and I have approximately AP department of 8 professionals. We've been in business for 11 years, growing industry, a real solid team, and happy to have me here today.
Excellent. Kristine, how about yourself?
Absolutely. I'm Kristine Dosick. I'm the controller and finance director here for evolvedMD. I report up to the CFO. We have a small finance team here. I have one person in my AP department, one person in my AR, an FP&A manager, and then myself. evolvedMD is a behavioral health provider working in the Four Corners area and currently expanding out into Florida and the Midwest. We employ about 100 clinicians who provide mental health services inside providers' offices, and we are continuing to grow and expand into more of a national presence. We've been in business for 8 years now, and I've been with the company for 3 years. And it has been incredible the amount of growth that we've been able to achieve in that time. So I see a lot of exciting things happening in the next few years or so.
Neat. Yeah, thank you for that. So kind of fast-growing startup as well. So, and Jody, I know you're not on the F&A client side, so to speak, but how does your role at Esker intersect with AP departments, controllers, and CFOs?
Yeah, so as a source-to-pay business development manager, that's typically who I'm talking with day in and day out. Global P2P or procure-to-pay process owners, AP directors, their teams, CFOs, really talking through their strategic and operational goals for their organizations, right? Sometimes it's about reducing risk and increasing visibility and enhancing financial oversight for others. It might be about reducing errors and faster processing.
Okay, thank you for that. Well, we're going to go ahead and get into the rest of the presentation today, but at first we're going to take a look at a recent study I wanted to share with you. According to a recent Institute of Financial Managers survey, half of participants experienced more fraud attempts in 2024 than they did in 23. And according to another study from the Association for Financial Professionals, fraud attempt levels remain extremely high for the second year in a row. So that's kind of a lead-in to our first poll question. What types of fraud have you experienced? So let me get to that and launch that first poll. Launch poll. What types of fraud have you experienced recently? Select one or more of the following. First of 4 polls. Please look for CP or to benchmark against your peers, because we'll take a look at the results shortly. By the way, the polls are completely confidential and anonymous. Few more seconds. Still see some voting going on. And we'll share the results. So number 1 by far, phishing and business email compromise, 84%. So these are really listed in order of check fraud, 40% still, invoice fraud, 33%, AI deepfakes. Not sure what that is, but maybe we'll cover that later. 7% and 7% not sure. So panelists, anyone want to comment on this? We're going to have a similar panelist question, but any thoughts on these results?
I have a thought, Neil. I have noticed in our AP an incredible increase in the number of phishing and business email spoof invoices, quote unquote, that we've been receiving. It used to be that we would get one every couple of months. Now they're coming in weekly, sometimes 2 or 3 a week, with an email string going back to the CEO, the CFO, the COO, with accompanying documents like a W-9 and an invoice. They're really becoming sophisticated in their attempts to look legit.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. I get quite a few a week, and I push them over to our digital director with the word fraud ? So that's how we manage it. Well, we've got a question related to this, so let's come back to that. Whoops. And that is to the panel, what types of fraud are you most concerned about in 2025? So we're not asking to put you on the spot here, just what are you most concerned about? Jody, before we get into our controller and VP of finance, are you seeing types of fraud that are increasing in 2025?
Yeah, I really am. I think the answer here is all, right? It's just, it comes down to the likelihood and the impact and how that can vary, right? And that depends on a company size, the industry, their own digital maturity. And really to what Kristine just said, everyone must stay vigilant. These attackers can be really convincing, and they are becoming more and more tech savvy. There are a lot of things that you can do to prevent being a victim. And I know we'll be getting into that next, so I don't want to spill the candy here, but I think everyone is seeing an uptick on the business side, even on the personal side, right? And we can even get into what the AI deepfakes are. I think that that's still an emerging area, but having awareness in that area is just as important.
I agree. So Kristine, how about yourself? What are you most concerned about from a fraud standpoint in your company?
So as Jody mentioned earlier, every kind of fraud is a concern, but my greatest level of concern is the type of fraud that I see the least, because I have the least amount of experience with it, and that would be things that are related to AI and, let's say, voice recognition spoofing are my greatest point of concern, because especially right now, we rely fairly heavily on voice-to-voice confirmation for account information, ACH information, anything where there's going to be a transfer of funds. And I keep it in the back of my mind all of the time. How do I know that the person that I'm reaching is the actual person that I'm intending to speak with? So try to put other methods in place to make sure that we're doing identity verification outside of just voice-to-voice verification. But I think that that's going to need to get more sophisticated in the future as well.
All right, thank you for that. Michael, how about yourself?
Yeah, the phishing really is where, it's a fictitious, obviously, email, and there will be a letter or character that's different from the initial vendor. And what we've seen is them changing their banking information. So, they've hacked into that vendor and they're looking at their customers and they're sending the email to the accounts payable department and saying, hey, here's our new banking information. So we've seen that. The check fraud, that's mostly maintained by our financial institution, and we don't write a lot of checks. But the invoicing, I think, is rather common, whether it's in business or personally. You see a lot of that nowadays. But we have a very good internal controls and approval process with a small amount of approvers. So it goes through a hefty approval process. So, not falling victim to things of that nature.
Okay, good. All right, well, that leads us to